Hello everybody, Dan Bornt here, and I am getting ready to run through the install of MX19 on my secondary hard drive, which I'm hoping to make my primary hard drive at some point. And I figured I'd record this cool little video to kind of just walk through the steps. So what you see here is the BIOS screen, the boot menu that I have for my machine. It's a custom build that I put together. It's got a gigabit motherboard. It's got a gigabit RTX 580 graphics card in it. It's got, I think it's got, actually we could check from here. I can enter setup. So this is the system. So it's got 32 gig of RAM. Let's see here. You know what? If I come down here and I go to easy mode, it gives it a little bit. This is kind of easier to see. So these are my cooling fans that are running. So as you can see, it's got an AMD Ryzen 7 2700X. It's got the B450 Aorus Elite motherboard. Yeah. So it's got an 8-core, so 16-thread Ryzen 7 2700X. 32 gig of memory. 32 gig of RAM. And the card installed in it, I should be able to see that somewhere too. Classic peripherals. All those are just all my fans. Anyway, it does have an RTX. I think it's a 580. It's either a 570 or 580. I can't really remember off the top of my head. But anyway, this is what's in it right now. So what I plan on doing now is booting into this. So anyway, this is just the setup screen. So I'm going to boot into this. This right here is the USB drive. So if I click this, it should boot right into MX Linux. And how beautiful is that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit enter here. And it should boot Linux. It should boot MX right up. So I just downloaded this ISO like yesterday. It's going through the boot up systems. So this has kernel 419 on it. Mounted the boot device. Now I'm just waiting. Now I might, oh no, here we go. Yes, so I had this problem before. I think what I have to do is I have to set the IOMMU to soft, which is interesting. So if I reboot this, so I'll hit R. enter. Or not. Yeah, see, that's one of the problems I have with this stupid thing. Hold on. And then my other screen keeps going to sleep. Okay. So it really doesn't let me do anything here. It says press R or P, but it really doesn't do anything. So what I have to do is give it the old hard reset here. And then I hit F12 a ton of times so that I can get back to the boot screen. Okay, there we go. And then I can come down here to this. Now, what I can do here is I can add a boot option that says IOMMU equals soft, and then hit that. And I'm pretty sure this will work. Yeah. Something about that IOMMU just really screws with the system. Like, it just doesn't like it. So if I put the IOMMU equals soft, it gets me in no problem. So now what I got here is MX Linux is now running over here. So you're seeing the main screen for MX Linux. Now the funny thing is my laptop is over there, so I actually have it piped out to that. I have it piped into a capture card, so I'm watching it on my laptop instead of my main screen here. So I think maybe what I'll do is, if I give myself a second here, if I can go into displays. Give me a second here. Settings, display settings. What I will do is I will turn this to mirror displays. There we go. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so now you can see I have MX here. So now the first thing I want to do is I want to check my available drives. So instead of installing first, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do gpart. I want to pull up gparted. Root is the password for root. Tells you it's even nice enough to tell you right there. And I want to look at my drives. So I have 3 drives on here. So SDA is my current bootable Windows drive. SDC is my 1 terabyte drive that I'm using to store Windows games on. SDD is an external hard drive that I have plugged in my free agent. The one I want to install Linux on is SDB. So right now I actually already have a Linux install on there. But if I pick this one, I'm going to wipe out SDB, clear it out completely. But I got to be careful, because when I do it, I also want to put the bootloader on SDB, because I want to keep the bootloader separate. So I believe if I just run the installer, it should let me do this. Right, so auto install using the whole disk. I think, will it give me the option? Yeah. So I could install it on the existing partitions. Or I could just wipe out everything. Auto install. And then I actually want the system boot. I want Grub to be installed here on the master boot record there. Computer name. Yeah, we can call it MX. System clock, I want that to be that. We're just going to leave that alone. Default user is going to be me. I'm just filling out passwords. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. We'll do next there. All right, so now we're basically going to wait until it copies the new file system over, and then I should be able to hit next. And then we should be good. And then hopefully I'll be able to reboot into this, and we should be all good. And it should actually let me install run Windows from here too, which would be cool. All right, finish. So I'll finish this. So let's do this. It's going to reboot. Pull the stick out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick edit because I want to make sure that I put it kept it. See, so that's cool. So it actually kept that setting in there. I don't know if you can see it. I don't have a mouse on there, but about halfway down, about 2/3 of the way down the screen, it actually kept my IOMMU equals soft in there, which is great. So we can do F10 to boot, and we'll just boot, and it should boot right into MX Linux. Boom. Now, you're not seeing my login screen, which is fine. What happened? Something froze here. Okay, something's not right. All right, so something froze here. I don't know what's going on here. All right, I'm going to try a quick reboot here because something froze there. Didn't like something there. All right. There we go. All right. Okay, there we go. And you are now seeing it. My MX is now installed. And if I do this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick, I'm looking at the other screen, so forgive me, but I'm going to do a right click. I'm going to go to applications. I'm going to go to settings. And for now, I'll do display. And I'll just do mirror displays. So now you're seeing, we're both seeing the same screen. Otherwise, I have to reset it, which is fine. That's not a big deal. I'll reset it before I stop the video. But now I am now in MX. And if you saw when it booted up, it did have the actual Windows 10 boot. So now the key to test that is I am going to power this down. I'm going to restart. And we are going to try to boot Windows 10 just to make sure Windows 10 actually does boot. And then you'll get to see Windows 10. This capture card is pretty cool. So now I will boot Windows 10. Hey, look at that. It's a Windows 10 boot logo. So the beauty of MX that I found is because it's based on Debian and it's pretty stable. As long as I keep the drive separated and I keep the bootloader separated, like I could just boot to the Windows drive. But MX Linux was smart enough to figure out that I have a Windows system. Of course. Look at that. Working on updates. Good grief. So now, oh, wrong password. There we go. All right. So now we're into Windows, and it's going to fire up all my Windows junk, which is a lot of the Windows junk that my godson plays a lot of games on here. So you're going to see a lot of that in here. It starts up Steam. It starts up my console here. So this is just a pretty cool little like Windows console, but it's going to start up all the junk in the background. It's starting up Steam down here. You can see that's running. But yeah, so it seems to be in here and working, which is pretty cool. So I am going to... so now that I can boot into there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down. I'm going to restart the system. I actually like this capture card. This is actually pretty cool. Oh yeah, please restart anyway. That's fine. All right, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and boot into MX Linux again. And then the first thing I want to do is I want to install OBS. Yep. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go into the package manager. So of course I have updates, so I'm going to run the updater. I'll run the updater in a minute. Let's go ahead and run the updates, right? So let's go ahead and run the updates. So we'll go ahead and say yes to this. So you saw that was a pretty painless install. I mean, this video hasn't been running but for 20 minutes, and I've already been able to boot into the system, install MX Linux on a separate drive, install Grub. It remembered my setting from before for the IOMMU equals soft so that it'll actually boot. It boots Windows just fine. I'm now pulling down the package upgrades that need to be done. And in a minute here, when this is done, I'm going to install OBS so that I have OBS up and running on this thing. I'll probably also install Simple Screen Recorder too, just to be safe as a fallback. And then once I get done with that, I will probably stop the pipe out to the secondary screen and get this thing set up so that I'm doing the recording on this machine. So the whole point was that I could get my primary desktop to be my main rig and to actually be able to use that. So it looks like I'm actually almost there, and it didn't really take much at all. So it's actually asking me for configuration file, Etsy initd VirtualBox guest installations, deleted by you or by a scripts installation, package distributor shipped an updated version. Install the package maintainers version. Yes, because I really haven't done anything to this yet. So let's do that. Let's say yes to that. Package maintainers version. Since I haven't really done anything to this, I might as well update it to the newest versions. I mean, right now I'm recording on my laptop, which has been great, but it's going to be really nice to be able to do some stuff on here. So one of the things I'd like to do is get VirtualBox running on this thing and actually either use VirtualBox on this to do some distro testing, or even throw some extra hard drives in there that I can actually test on. So I also know I want to look at packages. So I believe if I go, so there is popular applications, and I believe OBS is in here. So OBS Studio, OpenGL3 hardware is required for this. They also have it in the stable repo. So if I go to the stable repo, I can search OBS. And I'm pretty sure it's in here too. Yeah, OBS Studio. So this is 24.0.3. Under popular applications, if I look for OBS, can't really tell what version that is. Well, let's install this one. Let's just see what we get. Sorry, I had to turn my other thing back on. Okay, so what does this say? The following additional packages will be installed. Say yes to that. Looks all right. It's just installing some libraries that I'm going to need. So let's go ahead and pull all that stuff. Okay, so now I should have OBS installed. So if I do OBS Studio, so now I should have OBS Studio running. So I'm not going to configure it right now because I'm actually recording OBS Studio. But one of the things I want to check is settings, right? And I want to do video. What is it? General output. So yeah, that's the thing. I don't think I can do the hardware encoding on AMD. I don't think it gives me the hardware encoding on AMD. Unless there's something that I'm missing, because I have an AMD card. So I might not be able to do hardware encoding on this, but again, that's not a big deal. I'm not too worried about that. The other thing I wanted to look at was I wanted to look for simple screen recorder right here. I like this thing too. This is a good little one too, just for recording some simple videos. The OBS is really for streaming, if I decide I'm going to stream. But most of the other applications that I want are in here. Like if I look, I mean, there might be some other stuff that I throw in here. But like for graphics, I don't really do a lot of graphics right now. Hex chat's in here, which is good. I got Firefox, I got Thunderbird, transmission, or multimedia. You know, I got Alsa Mixer, CD Ripper if I wanted. It's got Clementine on here, Pulse Audio volume control. I mean, it's got pretty much what I'd need. The MX tool set in here is ridiculous. Like, those guys do such a great job with the MX tool set. For Office, they include LibreOffice in here by default, which is kind of cool, so I don't have to deal with that. It's already installed. Bunch of things in the settings. This isn't like a full distro review or anything. I'm just kind of going through this, and then here's all the system stuff. So I can screw around with the Conky and all that good jazz. And then there should be that MX. What is the name of that? MX Tools. That's what it is. So one of the cool things that this has, because I have an iPhone, is they have this iDevice Manager. So it's a GUI for mounting iPhones. So if I want to mount my iPhone, that's cool. They got a lot of really nice tools in here. So one of the reasons I wanted this was because I wanted to get in here and take advantage of some of these tools that are in here. Like, they just got some really great tools in here. I mean, I'm going to probably play around with some of the theming. Like if I look at settings, so I'm an Arc Dark kind of guy. They have Arc Darker, although I don't really know the difference. Like, here's your Arc. There was another one on here that I liked, like plain dark. Numix. Yeah, I'm much more of a... So they have a Dwada Dark, but I like Arc Dark. The thing is then I have to change all the... I think I have to change... Oh, that changes all that, so that's kind of nice. I mean, the other thing I like is you can also look for, you know, you can get... there's a lot. I don't know. I got to play around with it because there's a lot of stuff to do in here. There's a lot of settings in here that I can play around with. Like, there's MX Tweak. So in here, you can change the theme. Right, so I can apply the MX Dark theme. I like the MX Dark. That's kind of nice. Ooh, I kind of like that. And then this is beautiful. having the ability to fix the dark theme tweak and fix the HexChat input box in the dark themes, you definitely want to do those. Because then what happens there is if you run like Firefox, right? Now, if you apply the dark theme in Firefox, it's been a while since I played around with some of this stuff, so it's under preferences and themes and extensions, and we want themes, and we want to enable dark. All right. So it fixes the title bar is basically what it does. And then for HexChat, it does the same thing. That little tweak fixes that too. So if you want to connect to like Freenode or something like that, you do Freenode. So basically what it does is it fixes it so you can actually read down here, because if you don't have that tweak in here, you'll never see what's going on down here. And then you can also you can change the preferences in here. So you can change the appearance. Messing with the colors in here can get kind of screwy. So your best bet is to find a dark theme that looks good, or just use it like this. You know what I mean? Whatever, it's fine. So anyway, that's my install of MX19. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hold on, I gotta turn this other machine back on. So I hope you all enjoyed me walking through this. I'm gonna yeah, I think I'll call it a day there, and push this video out, do some more playing around with this. Screw around with the wallpapers a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of settings in here too. I don't know. I just like the way this looks. I like the way this looks. I like the way MX runs it. I've always liked it. It's a very stable. Look, I'm using 1% of my hard drive, 2% of my memory, and 0% of my CPU. I mean, I'm really not doing much of anything. Well, my other machine's doing all the work right now. So anyway, that's it for now, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Y'all know what to do. I don't have to repeat myself, but you know, subscribe, like, comment, whatever. Everyone have a good night, and I'll see you in the next video.